Hi and welcome back. It is time for another art challenge. The only art challenge I am currently participating in. And that is Dena Tollefson's art challenge for her art family. And this one is hashtag Growing Garden Art Challenge, as you can see in the title and description. And so it is very obviously a garden challenge. There's no collar attached this time. And yeah, it's pretty much just if you can imagine something in a garden, you can paint, draw, sculpt, whatever. And I've used these challenges the last few times to use different art materials and try things out I'm a little unfamiliar with. This time, I'm totally unprepared. I watched the video when it came out, so it's not because I haven't had time for it. It's just I'm doing other things, and if you are a follower on my channel, you will have noticed that not much have going on. I've been going on for the last couple of 3 weeks. That's just because I'm doing other things. And so since I'm unprepared and this is kind of late and everything, I decided to just stick with what I know best. So watercolor it is. Here's my paper. It's Saunder Waterford. Saunder Waterford paper, hot press, cold press knot. It's a fine grain, and it's from St. Cuthberts mill. My favorite paper. All my favorite papers comes out of St. Cuthberts mill. Almost all of them, at least watercolor papers. I have a couple of reference photos added, so if my hand disappears it's because I'm looking for a reference photo. To make things simple, here's my palette, and I'll need some paint. I have lots of paints, so of course I will only use a little bit. That one, this one, and not that one. Some interesting stuff in here. I need another MaimeriBlu tube like this. Oh, Daniel Smith. Where are you hiding? There we go. So, I'll only use primaries, and I got this primary set from MaimeriBlu. You can't get these tubes anymore. These are 15 mils, and I think they are only selling 11 milliliters tubes now. But here's the primary colors: cyan, magenta, and yellow. The magenta is maybe not the best one to do orange colors with, but as I'll mostly be doing other colors, this will do, and it doesn't matter if what orange I make is a little bit on the muted side. So, but it's a very good primary set, this. There we go. Sorry for the flicker. I hope it will go away as we get some more paint on the paper. And I'll do no sketch, so I'm really throwing myself out there. Move my tea so I don't rinse my brushes and that. And we're good to go. I will make this a speed paint because talking and painting and me is not good together, so I might voice it over later. So I hope you enjoy the painting. Okay, so yeah, 3 colors. It's a garden scene, so we need loads and loads of green, but I don't want it to be too bright, so I added in a little bit of magenta. And this is just the underpainting. I do this wet and wet, and I just place kind of the general base color in the different areas. What I'm aiming at is to do a bird bath with some green bushes and small trees growing around it and a bit of grass at the base. I have let, before I'm starting all these details, I let the paper dry after the wet base there, and it looks, you see the backgrounds and all kinds of things because I use too much water. It's only a knot paper, so it doesn't handle all that much water too well, but it doesn't matter because it's just the first layer and you won't really notice. If anything, all those backgrounds and stuff just adds to the feeling of depth and variation and texture. It won't be anything that matters too much. So I'm working the branches that is kind of showing in the dark above the bird bath there. I did as negative painting, space painting. I'm using different techniques here. Now all of this is done wet on dry, and the paper handle that very nicely. It dries up fairly quickly and it takes tons and tons of layers of paint, so that is why this is my favorite. And yeah, working with 3 colors only is nice because I don't have to worry about anything. All the colors I can mix with these 3 colors will be harmonious. So and I'm just mixing paint as I go, and that's on purpose. I don't want one big blob of just one color of green, because foliage and stuff is not always just one color, so it doesn't really matter that I mix here and there all the time, because all these different shades will just make it look more interesting. And I'm not really doing details. It's almost pointillism I'm doing here, but it's I'm using more of what's it called? It's called illusion of detail. I don't paint details as such. I paint textures that looks like details. So all these little dots looks like leaves, and here I am using a fan brush. It gives a different kind of texture to do kind of the background tree there. I used a rake brush for the grass at the base. I sped this up so much it's hard to tell when I change brushes. I go forth and back, and the reason why I'm kind of all over the place is because I'm leaving things to dry in one spot and then I move over and paint something else while the first thing is drying, so it doesn't end up being too much wet and wet. I want to control it a bit, and yeah, I want that reddish orange color underneath everything over there. And yeah, I used several reference photos for this, and sadly I didn't decide too much about what I wanted to do with that bird bath, but I had fun painting this. The MaimeriBlu paints are so easy and nice to use. I cannot put into words how much I like those paints. They're really amazing. And I only have 5 tubes of MaimeriBlu, but I don't really need any more. And here I only use these 3. I often go back and I do this type of painting where I just use those 3 primary colors because they are so amazing to work with. So yeah, it's all kind of dots and splotches, and different colors mixed in. A little bit of definition here and there, not too much. Yeah, and I run out of time at some point, so that's when I decided it's done. And I'm gonna trim it up at the end too. But yeah, different brushes makes different marks on the paper, so I'm going forth and back between, I think I used 3 or 4 brushes for this. And it's kind of important to test out your brushes and know how they work. And because you will get to know them so well that you know which one to reach for different effects. And yeah, here I'm starting to use the blacks, and here I use a little bit of wet and wet technique underneath the rim of the bird bath to make a soft transition from the shadow into the rest, and add some shading on the edge there, some branch shadings. And yeah, trying to correct some things, trying to add some more texture here and there. So I don't know why I was so nervous about starting this, because this is also how I do landscape paintings, and that doesn't bother me to go on without a sketch. But this garden thing was kind of, oh, I don't know. I guess that was really why I was so late getting started. So, but yeah, I think it works well with all these different shades of green and orange that I mixed together. And the cool thing about using this primary set is I always use muted down colors a little bit. So if I have too much of a dark color, I just grab that and I mix it in with some more of whatever I'm mixing. So I don't have patches of paint that goes to waste just because I have a little bit of an area here and there with special colors. They can always be mixed in with the rest. And yeah, and the paper holds up. It doesn't pill and it doesn't do anything it shouldn't. Okay, so I ran out of time. I could probably, as usual, have painted on for a while. So this was a bird fountain, and it is a little unstructured still. It had lots of details on it that I didn't feel I had time to do. But I had fun painting the foliage and the grass and stuff. And yeah, so the challenge this time was work under time pressure. And yeah, it's always fun to do art challenges, and I'm not afraid of showing stuff that is not perfect. The benefit of using a limited palette is really good when you're on a time crunch, because it no matter what you do not ever end up with mud. Because no matter how you mix it, it will always be a 3 pigment mix. That is, if you have, as I have done, used 3 single pigment colors to work with. And even your gray or your blacks, if you need more paint, you can just drag it into whatever mixture you're doing and use it again. All of the colors will always look good together, no matter what direction you take them in. I pretty much just used 2-3 colors here, some oranges, some muted oranges and greens, and some grays, and that makes it easier. I don't have to sit and worry about how much did I mix into this paint now. So thank you all for watching, and please like and subscribe and come back. I do lots of other things. And thank you again, Dana. These challenges are great. That has got me off my couch to do some painting finally. I haven't done that for a little while. So, bye!